Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us at today's Tech Tuesday. We have an exciting Tech Tuesday planned with Nearpod. They're going to show us all about the new AI features within Nearpod. So, with us today, we have Amanda Voss, and I saw that Ellison Hearn also joined. So, welcome and go ahead, Amanda. Thank you for being with us today.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. Before I jump in, I just want to show you just a reminder that Camp Engage will be here February 7th and 9th. I'm in an account right now and I see that registration link. So if you see that, please join if you want to learn more stuff about Nearpod. But if you're in your account, AI Create is a tool that we created for teachers where they can quickly have questions generated for them when they're creating either multiple choice or a time to climb. So, how you do that is from your home page in Nearpod, go to create a lesson, and then let's just go ahead and start from scratch. And I'm going to go back to our new design right there. So once you're into, and that's a great thing to point out, if you notice that AI Create is not there, then that means you're in our old version. So make sure you always go back to our newest version. And when you start a lesson, you'll see AI Create will be in the upper right-hand corner. All you do is click on, and it's built right into Nearpod. So let's say I am doing a Battle of the Books, and I have 20 books that I have to come up with questions for, and we're going to be doing this in March. And let's say one of my books is Charlotte's Web. I could say something simple as questions over Charlotte's Web at a DOK level 2. And my advice is just to put as much or as little as you want and just see what generates. And if you don't like the questions that are generating, you can always come back and modify what it is that you're typing in. But since I'm going to do this as a game, I can do a time to climb quiz, and I'm going to create questions. And then over to the side, they'll start generating questions that I'm needing. Now I can go through and look at those questions. And let's say I like this one. All you have to do, well, I think they're still generating questions, but once they're done, then you can select any question that you like. So let's say I go through, I like this question, this one, let's see, or this one, and let's say these 5. Okay. And all I have to do is select the questions I like, and I hit save and edit questions. And they'll take those questions and throw them right into a time to climb for me. And here's my word of advice. I know anybody working with AI, remember it still needs that teacher, that human touch. So we allow you to edit any of the questions that you selected or even add more if you'd like. So here are all the questions that you selected. But if you're wanting to maybe add some reference image, you can do that here. You can type in there, how does the setting of the barn contribute to the story? I don't know. We can even change it to red barn. I don't know. You're able to change or edit anything that you would like. But all the questions are there. So all of a sudden I have a 5-question time to climb, which is a multiple choice game for kids to do. And that took me literally 3 seconds to do. Also, I want to point out, let's say you want to not do a time to climb and you chose that wrong, you just want a multiple choice quiz, you're always able to come to this slide and change it back to a quiz. Any questions? And let's do just one more, just for practice. Looks like Isabel put in a resource there. All right, perfect. All right, so again, if I want to create anything, I just go to AI Create, and I can type in, let's do one for math. Let's do integer word problems with a, and you know what, Super Bowl. The Super Bowl theme. create questions. And it will generate those questions that I would like. It's just that simple. So hopefully you get in, test this out, and see if this can work for you. Again, this generates multiple choice questions for either a time to climb or just a standard multiple choice. And after I've selected and found what I like, I just say save and edit questions, and it will dump everything in there for me. All right, Allison, I have you here. So is there anything you would add that I didn't?
No, I think that really sums it up. We can also send you an article that we have available for using AI Create to generate multiple choice questions. So we can put that in the chat so that you have easy access to that. So I'll take care of that.
Thank you. All right. One thing I also want to highlight, so I know this is the AI session, but that's the beauty of AI. It's that easy. It's not going to take 30 minutes for me to go over it. So I wanted to show you too that something that just landed in your accounts in Midland ISD is now you have access to both the math and social studies program. So here you'll find curated content that we've made that that you can pull already made lessons, activities, and even centers to do with your students. So I'm just going to showcase math real quick. This is for grades K through 8. You'll find content. And if I click on 4th grade, you'll notice we have these topic bundles. And then in each bundle, you'll see the resources. So let's say I want to do fluently add and subtract multi-digit whole numbers for 4th grade. It gives you your standard. If you click there, under this bundle, I have 2 lessons, 7 activities, 2 quick checks, and even 1 center. So again, you're going to see these lessons that you're used to seeing with Nearpod that are beautifully designed that you can just use. And I want to point out too that all these lessons are editable. And here you'll see those types of interactions that you're used to with Nearpod. So it looks like we've got a few multiple choice questions, having them think through what they're doing. We have a draw it. So again, getting these students to interact with their math, I think is so important. And all of our lessons have those components. Again, you'll see the standard. You'll see a timeline of how long this lesson will take. And then you'll see some compatible lessons. So here's a whole other a whole other lesson that you can do. Maybe after you've done it whole class, you might need to do something with an intervention group. You have activities that you can just throw out to the kids to get that extra practice, quick checks. And then here's something really cool is we have our centers built in as well. So you can also start exploring these virtual centers. And it gives you all the information you need as a teacher. So it tells you what a virtual center is and also gives you the recommended setups, what you're going to need to do to use for the center, directions for the teacher. And then here's the actual center for the students. So they get directions on what they're supposed to do, and then they can play this game using a draw it. So this is a great thing that you can do as like a self-paced lesson for the students, and they can play these games and or even doing it in a small group, however you want to use it. And one thing about the math program that this opens up for you, for all my math people out there, I taught math for 12 years, so I'm very passionate about math. You now have access to these virtual manipulatives. So if I click on this, it will just open up a regular lesson for me. And you'll see here you can put in, that equation that you're wanting your students to solve. And now they'll have these manipulatives to solve those equations. And I just want to say a plug, as somebody that used algebra tiles with my students, they would see something like this on their table. Of course, there'd probably be 5 on the ground because that's how middle schoolers were. But they would see these 4 and I'd ask for an answer and they'd always be like, 4, there's 4 things. And I would tell them, no, there's not, it's 0. And they didn't understand that concept. And this is why I love virtual manipulatives over those concrete ones sometimes, is because you're able to actually demonstrate that. If you line them up on top of each other, they disappear. So they're really modeling what's happening. And how you get those virtual manipulatives is, again, you don't even have to go to the math program, but if you just say add new, you'll find all those virtual manipulatives at the end of your resources. So now you have 4 extra resources, interactive activities that you can do with your students that you didn't have access to. So if you're building lesson from scratch or even uploading one from PowerPoint or Google Slides, you now have the ability to add these manipulatives. And again, you're able to virtually manipulate them. So again, just teaching children place value. You can now take a hundredths block and split it up, and they can actually take it and move them around so they see that it's made up of 10 tens. So these tools are now available for you. Midland got early access to them, so please start using them and enjoying them and playing around with them. You didn't have access before 2025, so this is new for everyone. Last thing, so that's math. So I'm going to go ahead and exit. Last thing I'm going to show you is, yeah.
I was just going to let them know that the manipulatives are also used and featured in some of the lessons in Nearpod Math. So you don't necessarily have to start from scratch all the time. They will just be incorporated into some of the lessons, but you can also use them as standalone or to create your own.
So definitely go through the library, see what those lessons are, because you will find them already built in. So that I always love that because it's less work. And even as a teacher, if you find something that you like, you can always add to or take away. All of our lessons are editable. Last thing is social studies. Some big things I want to point out to you is that this goes from K to 12. So it goes a little further than our math program does. And you will also see amongst the world history, U.S. history, U.S. government and civics, geography, but you'll see an all about Texas section. So we have Texas specific content. So my 4th and 7th grade teachers will probably really love that. So if you're wanting these interactive lessons where you get your students engaged in discussion, discourse with each other, and communicating with you as the teacher, then I highly recommend that you do a Nearpod and see how that transforms some of those social studies lessons for you. We have things built into these lessons like virtual field trips where you can explore the, like let's hear, let me just go into ancient civilizations. Let's see, ancient Egypt. So it's organized just like the math. You'll see lessons, activities, and library resources. So they pull everything together, give you a lesson, like gives you an idea. It's going to be 15 slides, 50 minutes, and has those interactive activities built in. Gives you corresponding ones. So here's one about Cleopatra. Again, lots of different activities that you can try with your kids, drag and drop, time to climb, but also bringing in, VR field trips. Probably chances are that a lot of kids, including myself, have never seen the pyramids. So this is a great way for them to virtually explore what it is that you're talking about. And we pull compatible lessons from our already Nearpod library. So you can see all those here. So we cluster them all together for you so that this is great for planning and figuring what you're going to do. But just to let you know, I really recommend going through the programs just so you can see this nice clustering of how this all looks. But I will say you don't have to go directly there. You can, let me write that down. You can just go to your Nearpod library. And in the universal search bar, if I just typed in, I'm a teacher and I'm looking for something on ancient Egypt, it would pull up everything. And you'll notice like the first thing that came up was something from the social studies bundle. So you can find those anywhere. Anything else you would add? I know I just wanted to just introduce those. I know the focus was AI, so get in there and start playing with AI. But if you are a social studies or math teacher, I just wanted you to know that these 2 programs have been unlocked for you for the remainder of this, or given you early access to it. So start exploring. Is there, I think, Jasmine, you're on. Is there any questions or anything you are wanting to know specifically? Marissa?
Yeah, I just have 2 questions for you. On the AI Create, does it, if you tell it to create the questions in, like in Spanish, for example, will it do that? I haven't played with that. But I might need to do that and see if it will.
Yeah, we
I
can.
just saw a message about that, Amanda. So, and Marissa, somebody tried it the other day and they were able to do it, but I don't think that that is something that they are developing right now. So they're making sure it's working really well in English, and there may be a move to also do that in Spanish coming up. But right now, it's not activated for that.
Okay,
it was
and then
for a minute, so we don't know what caused that to happen, but somebody had seen it.
I think it starts to learn and grow and somehow does things. But the
I
second
think
question was, Amanda, when you were on the activities game where there was like player A and player B, are they
Mhm.
able to collaborate and be on the same thing, or each student has their own self-paced and this student is filling in player A and this student is filling in player B separately? I don't know if you
I
remember
will say
that.
I haven't read the directions, so it would say that in the setup of like how you should be delivering it to them. So
Okay.
I just showed that as an example, but I haven't done it. Do you know?
I think you can do it with 2 devices. So if you had 2 students sitting at one device and 2 students, if you wanted them to collaborate, you probably could. It might be logged in with a particular student. I'm not sure how that would function, but you could still have them working together.
Okay. That helps. 2 on one computer, and then they're both moving on the same device. Okay, that was my question, but thank you so much, you guys.
No
You're
worries.
welcome.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and end the session if there aren't any more questions. And thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you.
Thanks.